Microphone, sir.
Oops. There we go. Wrong button. Now we got it. Welcome, everybody. A little bit late here, but welcome to the Titusville City Council meeting of November 27, 2018 at 5:30. We do have a quorum. I'll call the meeting to order. Is there anybody out there that would like to say an invocation? I see none. Please join us in a moment of silence. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is special recognitions and presentations. City Manager.
Yes, sir. We have two special employees of the month. We have the Virginia Blaylock from September of 2018 and Curtis Corwin from October 2018.
Curtis.
Wanda's going to read the citation for Virginia, and I think, Jim, you're going to read for Curtis. So, Wanda, go ahead.
Assistant City Clerk Jolynn Donhoff nominated Executive Assistant Virginia Blaylock of the City Manager's Office for her caring demeanor with citizens and excellent customer service skills. Since Virginia began working for the city, staff has observed her sincere and genuine desire to assist citizens with their concerns and needs to provide useful information to help them with their goals. With her background and experience in government and public service, this is a wonderful asset to the city. One example of Virginia's concern for a citizen occurred during the recent summer months, when she observed an individual that was seemingly without a home or many belongings. On her personal time, she gave this individual her personal umbrella, provided him food, and contacted a local nonprofit organization where she secured clothing for the individual. In addition, Virginia demonstrates excellent professionalism and discretion while assisting citizens and others that seek information or assistance from the city manager's office. Lost my spot, or that might seek contacting or interfacing with members of the City Council. Congratulations for Virginia for receiving the Employee of the Month for September 2018.
Eric, could I have you join us down on the floor?
Certainly.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I personally want to thank you for the fine job you can do. It's pretty good that so quickly.
Thank you, sir.
Just so you know, she ordered her own class.
Thank you.
Who's going to take a picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, we can multitask.
You selfie.
Next
Now,
one, sir.
We'd like to recognize Curtis Corwin and Jim Thomas from Support Services will provide the citation.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, new Vice Mayor, and new Council member. You only get to say that every few years. I'm Jim Thomas, Community Relations, and we're here to recognize an employee that was submitted by the City Clerk's Office for his support with the Student Advisory Council during the Florida League of Cities 2018 competition. This particular employee did a great deal of work with the students, and by the way, the students are quite talented. It kind of makes me think back where I wasn't quite so talented when I was young, but they are really good. This contest requires the students to decide the content and conduct all the work while city staff may provide oversight and expertise. In this case, it involved coaching, script writing, storyboarding, video narration, editing, drone footage, and more. The time frame allowed was 4 weeks, which required the employee to flex his schedule a great deal to meet the student's schedule and to meet the deadline. This particular video revealed the unique characteristics of the Titusville area, along with a smattering and overview of municipal services. Having observed the process, it was obvious that this particular employee wanted to dive in and do all the work himself. That's his nature. However, with a great deal of willpower and restraint, he was able to bond with the students and do a fantastic job. And without further ado, the award goes to Shane Daly, put his name on it. I'm not going to read that name. Curtis Corwin. Good job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm sure you'll have to edit that picture, since
Shane
took it.
Next order of business is Pritchett House overview.
Yes, sir and council. Roz Foster of the North Brevard Heritage Foundation will present an overview of the city-owned historic Pritchett House. North Brevard Heritage Foundation has leased the property from the city since 2016. The site was previously owned by Brevard County. And staff's recommended action is to accept the presentation. Roz, welcome.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you about this wonderful asset of the city that we have been working on for since 2003, believe it or not. I was asked to give a little bit of overview about the history and what we do at the Pritchett House so you'll better understand that. The historical significance, restoration, and the operations. The Pritchett family are very instrumental to the early development of Titusville. They moved here in 1876 and settled on the Delaspin Grant. And when a hard freeze hit in '86, he turned to real estate, selling real estate. One of the first ones in the area, by the way, real estate agents. And they moved to Titusville in a little cottage, rented a little cottage on Palm Avenue. The historic significance of this was that Captain Pritchard started the first bank in Titusville, which was the Indian River State Bank, in 1889. And he served as president to that for 37 years and sold it in 1925. And of course, we had the Depression and it closed. The other significance was that he had the first electric generating plant in Titusville in 1890. Now, he offered this to the city of Titusville for $30,000, and the city council decided no, they didn't want to have any part of it. So he offered it to Southern Utilities, and he sold it to them for $35,000, and it later became Florida Power and Light. So another missed opportunity there. Yeah. In 1891, Captain Pritchard they bought a lot from Mary Titus on the corner of where it is now, Pine and Washington Avenue. Contractor Hall built this lovely Queen Anne-style home, and it is a true Queen Anne-style home. And in June of 1891, they began construction, and the family moved in October of the same year. The other significance was that Captain Pritchard was also very civic-minded. He bought the hardware store on Washington Avenue in 1898 from his son-in-law, and that was continuously operated by the same family until it closed in 1981. It was the longest continuously operated hardware store in this region. The wonderful thing about this house is family members continuously lived in it and made very little changes to it. Mary was still living in the house. The daughter of Captain Pritchard was still living in the house when it was purchased by the county in 2005. She was born there and she raised her family there. And Captain Pritchard passed away in 1926. The house was purchased for historic preservation by Brevard County in May of 2005. And the North Brevard Heritage Foundation was very instrumental in acquisition of the house, restoration of the house, adapting all the guidelines for operation and maintenance of the house, and we acquired all of the furnishings of the house, restored what we had to, the linens, et cetera, et cetera. We officially opened the house to the public in October of 2011, which was very appropriate because that's when the Pritchards moved into their house. The North Brevard Heritage Foundation was contracted by Brevard County to operate and maintain the property. We also did hands-on restoration, as you can see, in numerous things that we did ourselves. We raised funding. We got state grants for the restoration of it. We wrote all the family histories. We maintained and raised funds to plant the gardens, maintained them from 2009 to 15, and we managed and operated the house from 2005 until 2016. Brevard County transferred the house to the city of Titusville in April of 2016, and we were thankful that the city also picked up our contract to operate the house. We pay all the utility bills, and we continuously have acquisition of the furnishings for the house. We maintain the furnishings, restored a lot of the furnishings. We also have the expertise in doing restoration work in the linens and the clothing that we have, which could be very expensive, but we know how to do that, so we do it ourselves. And we store and maintain our collections. We're open to the public as a history museum, that's contractually, and a public meeting place, exhibit hall, and a library. For those who don't know, we have an extensive library of books dating back into the 1800s that belong to the Pritchards, but also we have acquired some through donations also. We hold special events such as teas, birthdays, anniversary celebrations, weddings, dinner parties, and organizational activities. And at this time, I'd like to turn this portion of the presentation over to one of our lead docents, Lucy Ray, who is very knowledgeable of the Pritchard House and does an excellent job and of hosting, because it's in the detail that we feel that we do an excellent job for the visitors that come here. So, Lucy, I'd like to turn this over to you.
You look lovely, ma'am. Thank you for coming in costume.
Yes. As you can see, we do have special events all through the year. Our afternoon teas are very popular, and our upcoming annual Christmas porch party usually sells out months and weeks in advance. What I like best as a docent is conducting the tours. As you've heard, the house is furnished to look as it did in 1891. But as a docent, my role is not just to show you the rooms. We try to give visitors an accurate impression of what life was like at the turn of the 20th century. And our guests leave with a better understanding of the past, and as well, they come to appreciate how important historic restoration, preservation, and above all, maintenance is in these beautiful buildings. We get visitors from all over the world, thanks to our website, Facebook page, and our standing on TripAdvisor, where we were recently awarded the Certificate of Excellence for our tours. Anyone is welcome to go into our gardens, tour around their history gardens that talk about the various settlers of Titusville. So even if you don't take a tour, please come in and see the gardens. You can learn a lot about Titusville's history there. And again, we have the TripAdvisor Award, and that's where most people seem to find us, through TripAdvisor, but as you can see, we have other distinctive awards as well. This lists all of the volunteer hours that we put in, and I think actually it's probably more because so many of us do things at home as well as in the house itself. All of the volunteers work very hard to make the Pritchard House a success. Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Lucy.
Before you leave,
Oh,
Jim or Curtis, could you get this lady on the screen so the folks at home can see the lovely outfit she's in? Could you get this lady on the screen so that the folks at home could see the lovely outfit she has on?
and by the way,
Just look at any of these.
Lucy actually makes all of her costumes.
Really?
and her hats.
Wow.
Yes.
Most of us do, yes.
Most of us do, yes, yes.
And one
There
thing,
you go. Step back just a
I
little
could-
bit. No, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
And while I'm standing here, I want to quickly add that while we do enjoy meeting people from all over the world, we just had a large group from Australia take a tour. What we find most rewarding is when the residents from Titusville come. They say they've been curious about the house for years, but they had no idea of what was in it until they took a tour. And I think they come to appreciate what an asset the Pritchard House is to the community when they visit.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you look at yourself while you were on there?
Did you look at yourself while you
Step
were
back
on
over so you don't want to look. I think you look lovely.
Also, one thing that we also do as part of the detail is we bake homemade cookies and little tea cakes sometimes just for the tours. And we usually make something that is vintage, like hot spice cider in the wintertime or fresh lemonade. And from our gardens, we have our own Maya lemon trees. So we pick them and we use that, and we have our own rosemary and a little signature of ours in the napkins that are have ribbons on them. You have to pay the detail ribbons. We put a little sprig of rosemary in it when we serve our teas. So the little details do pay out. Jim, I want to go back to the last. Yeah, thank you. We do have a lot of volunteer hours, and what I wanted to show you was on the, I think it's, no, let me go to this one. I wasn't able to, because we had to turn this in at the beginning of the month, I just wanted to let you know that for the October totals, we had 14 volunteers for 179 hours, and we had 125 visitors for that month. And that was due to, we had a lot of the visitors from Australia, and we had 2 rentals. And when I say that we have private parties, I think that was misunderstood. That is a public rental of the building. We have luncheons, private luncheons, anniversary dinners. We have also showers, baby showers, wedding showers, that type of thing. What we started on doing, because we realized that some of our hours, we were just counting the hours that we were working at the Pritchard House. However, there's a lot of hours that the girls and myself put in that is not at the Pritchard House. And that includes every time we have a tea, all the linens have to be washed and ironed and starched. We have our table settings. We have shopping to do for the next tea, the coordination of the menu for the next teas, but also the phone calls, the arrangement, the coordination, all of that for the rentals, etc. So we're up to 108 volunteers, 933 3.5 hours and 428 visitors and that, so far, and that's a good estimate for this time of the year. Again, I want to reiterate that we have the distinction, and we're very proud of this, of having all 4 designations: National Register at the federal level, Florida State Historic Marker, Brevard County recognition for the Brevard Heritage Council Award, City of Titusville Historic Properties designation, Keep Brevard Beautiful Award for our beautiful gardens, our history gardens, and TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence for our continuously 5-star ratings. And you could go on there and see what people say about us. It's excellent. Also, I did want to iterate about our gardens. What we did, we didn't have any funds to establish the gardens or redo the grounds, so we had a fundraising aspect of the gardens, and we came up with the idea that we'd have family history gardens. So we got in touch with families to sponsor this. And what we did, different types of gardens, we had it all laid out in an architecture, landscape architect did the drawings, and then we sold off the gardens, and and it was very carefully planned. And then what we did is we got and interviewed the sponsors, and we wrote their family history. And then, so when you walk around, and it is an extraordinary history of Titusville, dating back to the 1800s, from commercial fishermen to people who were in the circus visiting here and they decided to stay, just farmers, all types of people who were here. And so when you walk around, these plaques that are in each one of the gardens tell the story of the settlement of Titusville. And we have a lot of people. We have a geocache also, and we have a lot of people that come and find the geocache, but then they walk around the gardens and they take pictures of the house. And heavens, we have people taking photographs of the house all the time. But they learn the history of Titusville by the people who sponsored those plaques. So, and we also had plein air painting sessions twice, where the artists came and painted in our gardens. Let's see. I want to go to our. Whoops! I'm going the wrong way. I wanted to include 1 year of financial, and I think you can see it better on your in your work thing. We take in from our teas. Of course, we have a lot that we have to pay out also. And as you can see, we took in $8,374. We spent $7,162 approximately, and we had a net of $1,211. Now, what we do is we belong to the Florida Trust, the Downtown Merchants Association, the National Trust, so we have memberships, but also some other things. And we continuously buy new plants. This year, we spent with our latest acquisition, we had to replace antique roses in the rose gardens, which are specially ordered from Texas. We spent almost $1,000 replenishing the gardens this year with new plants. But we also have all of the other things that we do, that we give. For instance, our Mother's Day tea. We not only have all the things to buy for the teas, but we give little prizes every once in a while. And for Mother's Day tea, every mother that comes, we give them a China teacup. So we purchase those also. But also we continue to redo the plaques. We had to redo our plaques, which we get from Pride to keep, and all of our banners, our printing, and all that type of thing. So As you can see, we're very proud and we work very hard at the Pritchard House, and we continue to get more interest in it as we expand different things that we want to do. And I thank you for the opportunity to let you know what we do at the Pritchard House, and it is a great asset to the community.
Thank you, Roz. But I
Thank
do
you.
have a question.
Yes.
That 413, that's for an entire year of visitors?
Pardon?
The 413 visitors?
Yes, that's 400, it's 400 and,
13. We have it up here, Roz.
Okay.
413.
yes,
That-
413. It's not, the new number's 428, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason, I know you must think that we should have thousands of people come to the Pritchard House.
No, I think that with all the hard work you're doing there and the lovely museum you've made there, that we should let more people know about it so that more people do come.
Well,
Do you advertise now?
Pardon?
Do you advertise now?
Oh, yes, we do. We have our website, which said we had 24,000 hits on our website by mid-year. We also have rack cards that we had printed, and we put those out at different places. And Space Coast Tourism Bureau in Cocoa Village hands them out all the time. We hand them out. We have them around different areas. We have our website, which is visited a lot. TripAdvisor is one of our biggest proponents, but we only can have on the tours, okay, 12 people at a time. The reason why is we have small rooms and also fire code. And so if we get a big group like we do, we have 25, we have 24 for tea, okay? So we have to split that, and docents take half upstairs, half downstairs, and we rotate them, or outside, we rotate them. And so a tour takes an hour to an hour and a half, depending on who we have and what their interests are. And so when we split that, that's quite a lot of time for someone to, to have a group come, because it's like 3 hours.
I'm more referring to individuals that might be coming through town, especially now that we have the Welcome Center. I assume they're sending people over to you.
No, very little.
Well, let's discuss that at a different time then,
Okay.
because I think you should have more people going in there. You've done a great job on it, and you have enough people to escort people through. They don't all come at the same time, but let's talk about that at a later time.
Okay, and what we do is people call our number, and we're here in an hour to 2 hours, and sometimes we have 2 people, sometimes we have 3 people, other than groups, and so we do accommodate
Do you have
those.
regular hours?
We are 7 days a week, 10 o'clock until 5 at night, and we do it on Sundays, we do it every day. They just have to call the number.
But
And
you're staying in there at
No,
10 o'clock?
no.
You're taking phone calls?
we take phone calls, okay, or they text us, or they email us. And the reason that we've done that, we've tried it several different ways. That when we first started out, we were at the house and nobody came, so we were wasting time. And then we tried to say, okay, we'd have tours on this day between such and such a time, 10:30. We used to do tours 10:30, and another said at 1:30. Okay, well, that didn't work. And the reason that some of this doesn't work, we have to have reservations for tours, is because if you're doing a tour, and it's an hour to an hour and a half, and you have, like, say, 4 people. Somebody comes and knocks on the door. We're upstairs. We can't hear them. And we have to keep the door locked because we've had people come in on us, believe it or not. Okay? And so, and then they interrupt the tour. They only get a half a tour, or we can't start the tour over. So that's why. And we've learned through the process that that's why that we have reservations or scheduled tours with people so they can enjoy the tour and they know they're set for that time, and it's worked out perfectly.
Well, let's talk about it further.
Okay. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry. We have other with questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Member Jordan.
I get to go first. I can't go
You punched your number in
I
first.
punched my number. I appreciate the presentation, and forgive me if I asked a question. Actually, the mayor kind of alluded to some of the concerns that I have, and it's concerns because of what you presented. You're presenting that we have this asset, but when I look at the number of people that's going through the asset, it doesn't jive. And the fact that I look at what the city is putting in as far as the maintenance is concerned of the facility, and you're charging, what, $5? How do you charge for the tours?
When it's $10 a person for a regular tour, and if we have an exhibit, it's $15.
Okay.
And then that money we use to buy the supplies for the teas and pay the caterer for the teas, that type of thing, and for repairs to the collections.
Okay, it's a beautiful facility. You kind of alluded to it, you're open a lot, but you're really not open a lot. Did I misunderstand what you're saying? You're saying you're available.
We're available at any time, 7 days a week, from 10 to 5 in the evening. We've done, actually, if someone wants to come in the evenings, we'll even do that. We're very flexible. And, but we cannot sit there and not have anybody come. Now, if we know that, for instance, from the Welcome Center, if they're going to have a group in town and they're interested, please let us know ahead of time, and we'll make arrangements to be there, to be available. But we've tried it the other way, and believe it or not, that's why we came up with the idea of having exhibits several times a year, and why we came up with having teas once a month, because that's a way to bring people in.
Okay, I honestly believe that we have an asset there along with the Welcome Center. And to me, the first stop should be the Pritchett House. And if there's no one there, then they have lost the ability to visit the place. I hear you saying you call us and then we'll be there. But I would think, and I think I'm with the mayor, I think we need to have a discussion about the process that we have an asset. We're spending money. We should make sure that those visitors are able to go into the Pritchett House. It may be that your process about having an hour and a half going through the whole thing with adults may be too long.
We don't feel that it's long. That in fact, most people that come to it, they enjoy it.
I said it may be too long. I didn't say it was too long, but I just think that there has to be, if you do that, then there maybe should be another way for people to be able to visit the place so that they can see that asset that Titusville has.
I agree with that. But we're all volunteers. We don't get paid, none of us. We're all volunteers. And like I said, there's other things that we do. And to sit there and not have it. Now, what we have done with the Welcome Center, okay, we now call the Welcome Center and tell them when we have tours or when we have something special going on. Okay, so if she has anybody that comes in, she can send them over and have a tour, and we have not had any response from that. We have not had hardly any response or request from the Welcome Center to come to the Pritchett House.
Okay, I'm not going to belabor it, but I'm seeing right now that I think that if someone is at the visitor center, to me, the first place that they should visit, since we have that asset, is there. I don't think it should be the opposite, where you call the visitor center and say, we're open today, or we're open for an hour. It should be more of you're open, so that if we're open from the visitor center from 8 to 5 or whatever, the number, and I understand you have volunteers. I'm just saying I think we should look at that because we're spending $20-some thousand a year for the maintenance of this thing, plus you all have a budget of around $8,000, right? But you're just using that money for your operation,
That's
correct?
right, yes.
So you're talking about $30,000, but the visitors don't have a chance to see this, nor does the citizen have a chance to see it unless you call and say, we're open at this certain time. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, and I don't know what the solution is to that unless you want to hire somebody to sit over
As I
there.
say, that's what I'm saying.
And give a tour.
Right.
Okay, and if you do, then that takes the contract out of our hands. So I don't know how you want to, how you want to
We
take
don't know
care of
either
that.
until we
don't
talk to
know
you
either.
about it.
Yeah, that's
So
what I'm saying.
That's why we want to have a conversation.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
think we should have
Yeah.
but it's nothing against what you all are doing, because I think you're doing a great job. I'm just saying, you're doing such a good job, you got an asset, it should be shown to the visitors and the
I
citizens
agree.
here.
I
Okay.
agree.
All right, thank you.
Don't go
Okay.
away. Member Nelson?
And I agree with them. Some of the comments I'm hearing from the Playhouse is, we love coming over. They're busing people into our Playhouse to see the plays, and they're like, we're dying for things to do downtown. This place they could go. But it's not open, and I think we need to figure out a way that we can have certain set hours. The visitor center is getting how many people a month?
On average, 1,000.
And we're getting 400 over a year.
Yeah,
So
and
there's-
we'd have to do 12 at a time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can't take any more than that. And if a bus load comes in, I work with a tour company, okay? A senior tour company, and we have 55 on a full bus. Okay, I can not accommodate 55 people. So what we were going to do, and we tried it twice, is let part of them go to the space thing, part of them come to us, and still the time allotment that the tour company has did not work because, and we cut it short. We cut the tours short because they were from other areas. We did the history, but not so much about the house itself. So there are ways that it can be done probably. Okay, it would have to be worked out and coordinated, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, but we were willing to try some things if you have it. You may have to hire somebody permanently to do that, and if you would like to do that, then we can discuss it with the board and we can see how we can.
I'd like to at least have a discussion on how we can get more people in there to visit it. I mean, it's a beautiful house.
Yes, it is, and we love it.
And you guys have done a beautiful job with it. And I would like to see the people from outside the area appreciate it as much as we appreciate it.
Yeah, so we'll have to work on that and see how we can come up with something that is a workable situation and see if you.
We can't all meet with you together unless we have a public meeting, but I will start it off by asking the city manager to arrange a time when you and I and whoever else you'd like to bring and the city manager can get together and talk about it. And
Okay,
then other
that would be
individuals
fine.
may-
After the first of the year, we have a busy schedule, so we'll have to do it after the first of the year. That
Oh,
would be
sure.
fine.
That
Okay,
was
thank you
fine.
for the opportunity. very
Absolutely.
much.
Can I ask
Thank
one
you
more
for what you
question?
do. Yeah, wait 1 second.
Roz, are you sold out for the Christmas parade?
We were sold out 4 months ago. Yeah, that's a big item with us.
We have other questions here, members?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm trying to get in for a tea, and every time it's sold out. So, but just to kind of echo a little bit, thoroughly impressed with your presentation. I have no doubt you guys perform wonderfully. The tours quality is there. What I'm looking for, perhaps when you meet with the city manager and kind of work through this, what I think may be beneficial or helpful is looking at some different options. So keeping what you're doing now, but maybe looking at downtown street parties happening, maybe do a $5 walkthrough, like not a tour, but just something to get people in there. Because what I see happening, and I've been downtown several times, people walk over there and it's, oh, there's the garden, but then they have to leave. So I see that people, I think, are hungry for it and we're wanting to be invested more, but kind of what Member Jordan was saying, it can be cumbersome to try to call, set up an appointment. It's more of, I'm down there for the play, let me walk over. Or I'm going to go to the coffee shop, let me go see what's going on. It's a nice day out. So maybe when you're having that discussion, and then with those additional revenues, potentially then looking at expanding or maybe getting somebody on part-time. I don't know what that looks like, but I think that we have some flexibility to potentially try out new things as we are growing, and the Welcome Center's there now. I definitely hear your concern. Nothing's more frustrating than sitting there with nobody coming through your doors.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful maybe we can start slow and kind of ease into something and see how it goes. So.
We do sneak peeks when they have things downtown for $1. You can come through the front door and go out the back door, and we do get people who come after to take to schedule a full tour. Okay, so that's a very good thing. We don't do everything that they, sneak peeks for everything they have downtown, especially when there's drinking, because we've had a couple of incidents where people get a little nasty because they can't take their drinks inside, or they're a little inebriated, and we can't have that because of what we have inside. So, so sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't, and that's the reason we do it. But they're very popular, and it's a good way to get other people inside. And believe it or not, a lot of people from Titusville do the sneak peek and then come back and see what it is. So I think maybe we can work something out where we can do something like that. Yes.
One more.
Last one.
Vice Mayor.
It's hard to be the last one when we all agree. Because I think we all saw that 413 number and feel like you guys work way too hard for just having 413. And I drive by it a lot, and it would be one of those things that when I drive by, that if it was kind of constantly open, and I understand as a volunteer sitting there waiting for people to come in, it's kind of, I get that. My wife and I go to Key West a lot, and we've been through the Hemingway House more than once. That came to mind when I'm thinking this, because if I had to call to make an appointment to go through the Hemingway House, I'd never go through it. But it's really one of those, as you're taking a stroll or you're riding your bike, hey, let's stop and go through. That's what I would envision we could have happen some of the time. I agree with Member Stokel. Keep doing what you're doing. I hear a lot of great things about these teas, and she's trying to make one, and it's a big deal.
Yeah,
it's a big deal to get a tea in that house.
Yes,
but I think that if we could get some kind of a walk through, or you're just riding along and say, hey, let's go pay whatever it is, and we'll walk through, and maybe it's just, maybe there is a tour, maybe there doesn't have to be a tour. You kind of have some arrows that go here, here, and here, and just people watching, because you got to have people stationed so nobody does anything stupid. But outside of that, I think that you guys work way too hard, and Titusville, it's a gem in Titusville, and somehow we've got to be able to get in there without having to make a phone call to make an appointment. But otherwise, again, everybody here feels like you're doing a great job. We just want to get like 40,000.
We'd love to have more people come through there.
So,
we would.
Thank
okay.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much. Letters of appreciation, sir?
Yes, sir. And Council, I'd like to read for the record letters of appreciation that we received for the following employees: Edie McCall, Tiffany Callahan, Scott Einkoff, Kyle George, Jeff Harris, Stephen Hartzell, Aaron Jolly, Lucas Lamotte, David Neld, Adam Valkeman, and Tyler Walker, Cheyenne Wilson, and Matt Hickson.
Very good. Anything else from council? Any questions? Anything else? Not hearing. Oh, petitions and requests from the public. Sir, would you like to say? You are the public. Okay. I'll declare this meeting adjourned. We'll reconvene at 6:30 at the next meeting.